Good morning to all. I am Dr. V.S. Madhusuresh, Professor and Head, Department of Mathematics, Rohini College of Engineering and Technology. Today I am going to explain irrotational and scalar potential. Course outcome: after completing the course, the students able to modeling the various laws of physics. Divergence of a vector function. Here, f vector is a continuously differentiable vector point function in a given region of space. The divergence of f vector is defined by del dot f vector. The divergence of a vector valued function f vector is defined by del dot f vector. That means divergence of f vector. Here the formula is del dot f vector, div f vector. That is del. Del means vector I into dou by dou x plus vector j into dou by dou y plus vector k into dou by dou z. Dot f vector. F vector means f1 I vector plus f2 j vector plus f3 k vector. Then del dot f vector, div f vector, that is equal to dot product of these two vectors, I vector dot I vector 1, j vector dot j vector 1, k vector dot k vector 1. We get div f vector, del dot f vector equal to dou by dou x of f1 plus dou by dou y of f2 plus dou by dou z of f3, where f vector equal to f1 I vector plus f2 j vector plus f3 k vector. In generally, the divergence of a vector valued function f vector is generally denoted by del dot f vector, that is div f vector. Solenoidal vector. Here one vector f vector is given. To verify that, or to check whether the given vector is solenoidal or not, to verify if f vector is solenoidal, divergence f vector equal to 0, that is del dot f vector equal to 0. If f vector is given, find first del dot f vector. How to find del dot f vector? The value of del dot f vector equal to 0, then the given vector is solenoidal vector. The problem based on divergence of f vector. Here the first problem, find div f vector where f vector equal to grade of x cube plus y cube plus z cube minus 3xyz. Here f vector is not directly defined. F vector equal to grade of, that means del of, gradient of. First find f vector. Given f vector equal to grade of, grade means del. Del means vector I into dou by dou x plus vector j into dou by dou y plus vector k into dou by dou z. Here f vector equal to, first partial differentiate with respect to x, then partial differentiate with respect to y, then partial differentiate with respect to z. Then we get f vector. F vector equal to vector I into dou by dou x of the given function plus vector j into dou by dou y of the given function plus vector k into dou by dou z of the given function. Therefore f vector equal to vector I into, to partial differentiate with respect to x, we get 3x square minus 3yz plus vector j into, to partial differentiate with respect to y, we get 3y square minus 3xz plus vector k into, to partial differentiate with respect to z, we get 3z square minus 3xy. Here div f vector, that is del dot f vector equal to del dot f vector. Then find div f vector. First f vector is given, but f vector is not directly given. F vector equal to grade of some function. Therefore first find f vector, then find div f vector. Div f vector means del dot f vector, that is del means vector I into dou by dou x plus vector j into dou by dou y vector plus k into dou by dou z dot f vector. Here find del dot f vector means dou by dou x of 3x square minus 3yz plus dou by dou y of 3y square minus 3xz plus dou by dou z of 3z square minus 3xy. Therefore finally we get del dot f vector equal to partial differentiate with respect to x, then to partial differentiate with respect to y, then to partial differentiate with respect to z, we get 6x plus 6y plus 6z. Therefore del dot f vector equal to 6 into x plus y plus z. Then curl of a vector function. Curl means cross product. Here if f vector is a vector valued function, the curl of f vector is defined by del cross f vector. Curl f vector, that is del cross f vector, that is equal to determinant. Here first row I vector, j vector, k vector, then second row the coefficient of I vector and del. the coefficient of j vector and del, the coefficient of k vector and del, that is dou by dou x, dou by dou y, dou by dou z. Then third row, here vector valued function, f vector equal to f1 I vector plus f2 j vector plus f3 k vector, the coefficient of I vector f1 plus the coefficient of j vector f2 plus coefficient of k vector, that is f3. Curl f vector is defined as del cross f vector, that is equal to determinant I vector, j vector, k vector, then dou by dou x, dou by dou y, dou by dou z, then f1, f2, f3. Then to evaluate we get vector I into, then minus vector j into plus vector k into, where f vector equal to f1 I vector plus f2 j vector plus f3 k vector. Here in generally the curl of a vector function is defined as del cross f vector, that is curl f vector. The divergence of a vector function is defined as del dot f vector. Next, irrotational vector. Here one vector f vector is given. Check whether this vector is irrotational, means how to find del cross f vector. Here del cross f vector equal to 0 vector, then the given vector is irrotational. A vector is said to be irrotational if curl f vector equal to 0 vector, that is del cross f vector equal to 0 vector. One vector is given. To verify whether or check whether this vector is irrotational, then you have to find the value of del cross f vector. Finally we get del cross f vector equal to 0 vector, then the given vector is irrotational vector. Here the evaluation of del cross f vector is determinant form. Next, scalar potential. If f vector is an irrotational vector, scalar potential means the given vector is irrotational vector, that is del cross f vector equal to 0 vector. If f vector is an irrotational vector, then there exists a scalar function phi such that capital F vector equal to del pi. Such a scalar function is called scalar potential of f vector. That means the scalar potential of f vector is f vector equal to del pi. Phi is a scalar function. Next, if f vector is given, find del cross f vector here at the point 1, minus 1, 1. Given f vector equal to x y square I vector plus 2x square y z j vector minus 3y z square k vector. Here find del cross f vector means determinant form. First row I vector, j vector, k vector. Second row the coefficient of I vector, j vector, k vector and del dou by dou x, dou by dou y, dou by dou z. Then third row the coefficient of I vector, j vector, k vector in f vector, that is xy square plus 2x square y minus 3y z square. Del cross f vector means determinant. To evaluate the value, to find the value, that is vector I into, then minus vector j into plus vector k into. We get vector I into dou by dou y of minus 3y z square, that is minus 3z square. Then dou by dou z of, that is minus 2x square y. Then minus j into dou by dou x of means there is no function for x, 0. There is no function for z, that is 0, plus vector k into dou by dou x of 2x square y z, that is 4xyz. Minus dou by dou y of xy square, that is 2xy. Therefore del cross f vector, that is equal to minus 3z square minus 2x square y into I vector minus 0 j vector plus 4xyz minus 2xy into k vector. Here del cross f vector at the point 1, minus 1, 1 means replace x by 1, y by minus 1 and z by 1. We get minus I vector minus 2k vector. Next, so that the vector f vector is solenoidal. Here one vector f vector is given. The question is so that the vector is solenoidal. We know that one vector f vector is given. F vector is solenoidal means div f vector equal to 0. That is del dot f vector equal to 0. First find out the value of del dot f vector. If del dot f vector equal to 0, then f vector is solenoidal. Here the solution, given f vector equal to this value, find the value of del dot f vector. Del dot f vector means dou by dou x of the coefficient of I vector, that is 3y power 4 z square, plus dou by dou y of the coefficient of j vector 4x cube z square, plus dou by dou z of the coefficient of k vector, that is minus 3x square y square. Here dou by dou x of the value 0, dou by dou y of the value 0, dou by dou z of minus 3x square y square, that is equal to 0. Here del dot f vector equal to 0, therefore the given vector is solenoidal. Next problem, prove that f vector is given. prove that f vector is irrotational and find its scalar potential. The first part is to prove that f vector is irrotational. That means to find out the value of del cross f vector. Here del cross f vector equal to 0 vector, then f vector is irrotational. The next part is find its scalar potential. Here the definition of scalar potential in generally represent capital F vector represent del pi. F vector is given vector, this vector represent del pi, then find its scalar potential, that is f vector equal to del pi, then find out the value of pi. Given f vector equal to y square cos x plus z cube into I vector plus 2y sin z minus 4 into j vector plus 3x z square k vector. The first question is prove that f vector is irrotational, that is find out the value of del cross f vector. Here cross product means determinant form. First row I vector, j vector, k vector, then dou by dou x, dou by dou y, dou by dou z. Then coefficient of I vector, j vector, k vector in f vector. Find out the value. Here we get del cross f vector equal to 0 vector. 0 vector means 0 I vector plus 0 j vector plus 0 k vector. Therefore, the given f vector is irrotational. That is, the given vector is irrotational vector. The next, find its scalar potential. Here, scalar potential means represent del pi. Therefore, del pi equal to vector I into dou pi by dou x plus vector j into dou pi by dou y plus vector k into dou pi by dou z. Comparing f vector and del pi, here f vector is equal to del pi. Comparing the coefficient of I vector, j vector, k vector, we get dou pi by dou x equal to the coefficient of I vector in f vector, that is y square cos x plus z cube. Dou pi by dou y equal to 2y sin x minus 4. Dou pi by dou z equal to 3x z square. That is f vector equal to del pi. Comparing the coefficient of I vector, j vector, k vector in both f vector and del pi, we get dou pi by dou x equal to this value, dou pi by dou y equal to this value, dou pi by dou z equal to this value. Here integrating on both sides. Here integral of dou pi by dou x means pi. Integral of y square cos x plus z cube means y square into here y constant, integral of integrate with respect to x cos x, the differentiation of cos, integration of cos x, that is sin x. Here z cube into integral of dx, that is equal to x plus constant f1 of y comma z. Here integrate with respect to x means y and z are constant. Then integrate with respect to y, integral of dou pi by dou y, that is pi. Integrate with respect to y, here 2 sin x constant, 2 sin x constant. Integral of y dy means y square by 2, 2 cancel, that is y square sin x minus 4. Integral of dy means y. Here integrate with respect to y means x and z are constant, that is f2 of x comma z. Then integrating with respect to z, integral of dou pi by dou z means pi. Integrate with respect to z, 3x into z cube by 3, 3 cancel, that is x into z cube. Here integrate with respect to z means x and y are constant plus some constant f3 of x comma y. Then the scalar potential pi equal to, from comparing the pi term, here y square sin x, write one time, here y square sin x, then x z cube or z cube x, write one time, then minus 4y, y square sin x plus z cube x minus 4y plus f1 of y comma z plus f2 of x comma z plus f3 of x comma y represent some constant c, where c represent f1 of y comma z plus f2 of x comma z and f3 of x comma y. Therefore, pi equal to y square sin x plus z cube x minus 4y plus c is a scalar potential where c represent the constant value. Thank you.